My name is Michaela Grace Whitmore, and I'm 28 years old. If you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have told you I was part of the perfect family. At least that's what it looked like from the outside. My parents, Richard and Helen, were successful in their careers. They lived in a beautiful house in a quiet neighborhood in the heart of Seattle. Expensive cars, designer clothes, vacations that always looked perfectly planned. Our family was the picture of success. But that was never the full picture. Behind the closed doors of our home, things were different. My sister Amber was always the golden child, the one everyone admired. She was the one who could do no wrong. I watched as she was paraded around for every little achievement, from receiving a ribbon at a school talent show to her perfect attendance at school. And me? I learned early on that my successes weren't worth celebrating unless they directly benefited her. I spent years flying under the radar, excelling in my own way, but never making a scene. After all, if I did, I'd only be overshadowing Amber again. I remember coming home one evening in 8th grade, clutching my science fair trophy, proudly walking through the door with my perfect report card in hand. But all I received was a quick glance from my mother, who barely took her eyes off the magazine she was flipping through. Amber was the one who deserved the spotlight. Always. I pushed it all down. My accomplishments, my dreams, my desires to be seen. I stayed small, out of the way, just like I was expected to. After all, they had made it clear that Amber was the one who mattered. She was the one they were counting on. I was just there to keep things running smoothly behind the scenes. But I had my own plan. While they thought I was struggling through community college, living in their guest house, I was secretly building a life of my own. I graduated from the University of Washington 3 years ago with a degree in data analytics, top of my class, with a 6-figure salary. But they'll never know that, not unless I choose to tell them. I'm sitting in my downtown Seattle apartment, my fingers tapping nervously on the cold marble countertop. It's been quiet for too long, and my phone vibrates again, a constant reminder that things are about to change. Amber's name flashes on the screen for the 7th time today. She's been calling, texting, begging me to come home for her wedding. But I'm not just coming back for a wedding. I'm coming back to make them see me for the first time in my life. A voicemail notification appears. It's my dad. I press play, knowing exactly what he's going to say before his voice fills the room. Michaela Grace Whitmore, he says, his tone commanding and stern. I don't know what game you think you're playing, but it ends now. Your sister's wedding is in 2 weeks. The pre-wedding celebrations start this weekend. If you can't put aside whatever petty grievance you have for Amber's special occasion, then you can kiss your college fund goodbye. Your mother is beside herself. Call me back immediately. I close my eyes, pressing my fingers to my temples. He still doesn't get it. He still doesn't know who I am. I walk over to my closet, pulling out a black portfolio case from behind my winter coats. Inside, there's a single sheet of paper, my diploma from the University of Washington. The gold embossing catches the light as I run my fingers over it. Michaela Grace Whitmore, Bachelor of Science in Data Analytics, summa cum laude, class of 2022. I stare at it, letting the weight of it sink in. 3 years. 3 years of living in their guest house while I built my life without them. 3 years of letting them believe I was struggling, when in reality, I was succeeding in ways they couldn't even begin to understand. Another buzz from my phone interrupts my thoughts. It's a text from Mom. Please call. Your father is getting impatient. Amber needs you. I glance at the calendar on my wall. In bold red, I see what's looming. Amber's wedding. 2 weeks of ceremonies, parties, photo sessions, and endless expectations, all for the golden child's perfect day. I tap open my banking app, as I do out of habit, and stare at the balance. $147,382. More than enough to never need their support again. But they don't know that. They don't know me at all. I sit back on my couch, staring at the phone in my hand, the weight of it pressing into my palm like a reminder of everything I've hidden. I was supposed to have a family who celebrated me, supported me. Instead, I learned to disappear in plain sight, to shrink into the background, while Amber soaked up all the attention. I think back to those childhood moments. 4th grade. I remember that day clearly. I had worked hard, far more than the others in my class, and when I received the highest grades in every subject, I couldn't wait to show my parents. I rushed home with my report card, practically bursting with pride, expecting my parents to congratulate me. But my mom, seated at the kitchen island, barely looked up from her magazine. That's lovely, honey, she said before returning to her pages. No enthusiasm, no celebration. That same evening, Amber was the center of attention. She had just won a ribbon at the spring talent show, and it was like she had achieved the greatest thing in the world. My dad, always quick to praise her, lifted her onto his shoulders, parading her around the living room like she had just won an Olympic gold medal. "Did you see her up there?" Dad's voice rang out, glowing with pride. "She's going to be something special." Meanwhile, I sat quietly on the bottom stair, invisible, my perfect report card folded in my pocket. It wasn't the first time I was pushed aside, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. 8th grade came, and I placed first in the regional science fair. It was a project on water purification systems, one I had poured myself into for months. The trophy was taller than I was, and Principal Morrison shook my hand with genuine enthusiasm. "Your parents must be so proud," she said. I nodded, swallowing around the hollow feeling in my chest. They weren't there. They were at Amber's dance recital across town. She had performed for a whole 90 seconds. The spotlight was always on her, and I was left holding my trophy alone. Even when I earned my acceptance to the University of Washington in senior year with a full academic scholarship, it wasn't enough. I remember bringing that letter downstairs, hands shaking with excitement, hoping my parents would finally see me for who I was. They looked at it, then exchanged a glance. "Seattle?" my mom said, her voice tight with concern. "Michaela, that's so far away." Dad didn't even glance up from his steak. "We've discussed this. You're staying at local community college for 2 years. Maybe state after that." "But it's a full scholarship," I protested, heart pounding with hope. Amber, sitting at the table, glanced at me, her face unreadable. She didn't say anything. She never did. "Amber would feel terrible if you went to some fancy school while she's just starting at Cascade Community College," my mom added, squeezing Amber's hand. That night, I made a decision. If they weren't going to see me, I'd become invisible. I'd give them what they wanted, stay small, stay out of the spotlight, and stay near them, but I'd also build a life they could never touch. 2 weeks later, I was on a Greyhound bus to Seattle, my whole life packed into 2 suitcases. They thought I was 20 minutes away, living the life they approved of. I was actually 2 hours north, living in a dorm room at UW, starting a life that was all mine. I've never needed their approval, but now I'm going back. And this time, I won't be invisible anymore. The voicemail from my dad echoes in my mind as I sit in my apartment, the silence surrounding me. My fingers hover over the keyboard of my laptop, unsure if I should respond to the hundreds of messages, the unspoken expectation that I'll return for Amber's wedding. I won't, of course, not for them, not for Amber, but I know I have to go, for me. My father still thinks he holds the purse strings. He doesn't know I've been living independently for years, or that I'm not the struggling daughter they think I am. I glance at my phone, which vibrates again, and the screen lights up with Amber's name for the 8th time in an hour. She's persistent. I'll give her that. Then another message, this one from Mom. "Please call. Your father is getting impatient. Amber needs you." I stare at the words, my stomach tightening. Amber. Amber's wedding. Her perfect day. She's the one who gets everything handed to her, the one everyone adores. Meanwhile, I'm the invisible sister, the one who's good enough to help in the background but never good enough to deserve their attention. I scroll through my phone, looking at my bank balance again, as if I need a reminder that I don't need their help. $147,382. All of it earned by me. They don't know I've been working as a product analyst for 2.5 years, making 6 figures while they still believe I'm living in their guest house. The thought of them, clueless and smug in their certainty, makes my blood boil. I open my closet again, pulling out my old portfolio case, and I find the diploma inside, still shiny with the embossed gold lettering. Michaela Grace Whitmore, Bachelor of Science in Data Analytics, summa cum laude, class of 2022. I hold it in my hands for a moment, letting the weight of it settle in my chest. This is the life they don't know about. This is the life they chose to ignore, and it's time to show them the truth. As I slip my phone into my bag, ready to face whatever's coming, I get another message from Amber. "Please, please don't ruin this. It's the most important day of my life. We need you here." I can't help but feel the bitterness rise in my throat. Important day? Important to whom? Amber's always been the golden child, the one whose feelings always came first. She's the one who can do no wrong. And now on her wedding day, she expects me to just fall in line, to be the dutiful sister who shows up, smiles, and pretends everything is fine. I've been playing that part my whole life, but not today. I take a deep breath and pick up my phone. I know what I have to do. I book a first-class flight home. I'm going to this wedding. But this time, I won't be invisible. I'll show them who I've become, the daughter they've always ignored. I'll make them see me. The rental car rolls down the familiar gravel driveway, and I brace myself for what's coming. My childhood home, once filled with laughter and love, now feels like a museum of memories I'd rather leave behind. The house is overrun with white roses, ribbons, and the overwhelming scent of vanilla candles. It's a wedding planner's dream, and my nightmare. I park next to a van overflowing with flowers, taking a deep breath before I step out of the car. The moment my foot touches the ground, I'm back. Back in this house, in this family, in the life I once tried to escape. I walk to the door, my hand reaching for the brass handle, only to have it swing open before I can knock. My mother, her honey blonde hair meticulously styled, stands in front of me, wearing a crisp white blouse and linen pants. Casual for her, but I know better. She's always dressed like she's about to meet the queen. "Michaela, finally," she says, her voice light but strained. "We were beginning to think you'd skip your sister's wedding altogether. It's good to see you." She hugs me, but it feels rehearsed, stiff, too quick, too polite. I pull back, unsure of how to respond. My mother, always the performer, the one who made everything look perfect, is the one who's failed to see me. But I'm here now, and I'm not going to let her or anyone ignore me again. I look past her into the chaos of the house. "What's going on?" I ask, though I already know. The place is covered in schedules, seating charts, and wedding brochures. It's as if the entire family's world revolves around Amber's big day. "We're drowning in details," she says, her voice rising. "Amber has specific instructions for everything. The caterer needs final numbers by tonight. There's no time for anything else." I nod quietly, watching my mother's face. This isn't the woman who used to celebrate my achievements. She's been consumed by the wedding. "Dad's in his study," she says, stepping back to let me inside. "He's reviewing the programs. He'll want you to help with the welcome bags later." I glance at the clock. It's not even noon yet, and this family is already at a fever pitch. As I step into the foyer, I see the house filled with more flowers, more ribbons, more of everything. Amber's wedding day has taken over their lives. It's the only thing that matters. I hear my father's voice from the study, and I know what's coming next. I walk through the house, finally reaching his office. "Good, you're here," he says, glancing up briefly from his clipboard, not bothering to get up. He thrusts the clipboard into my hands without a word. Programs need to be folded by 4:00. The welcome bags for out-of-town guests need to be assembled, and Amber has specific instructions for both. Don't deviate from them. I stand there, holding the clipboard, the weight of it suddenly too much. He doesn't hug me. He doesn't even make eye contact. All the years I spent proving myself, all the achievements I had earned, and this was all I was worth to him, a task. I open my mouth, ready to say something, but before I can speak, Amber's voice echoes down the hall. "Michaela!" I walk toward her voice, my heart pounding. I stand in the entryway as she descends the stairs, phone in hand, one arm flailing as she talks to someone. "No, I specifically said the centerpieces should have ranunculus, not just roses. This is literally ruining everything." I try not to roll my eyes. Amber, in her yoga pants and oversized sweatshirt that reads "Bride" in bold rose gold letters, looks up just in time to see me standing in the foyer. "Do you understand that this is the most important day of my entire life?" she says into the phone, her voice sharp. "Every single detail has to be perfect. Every single detail." She waves me over, and I follow her into the dining room. She links her arm through mine, pulling me along with a forced smile. "Come on, Michaela," she says, not noticing the edge in my voice. "I need your help fixing this disaster." I stop in my tracks. "It's nice to see you too, Amber," I mutter under my breath, but she doesn't hear me. She keeps talking, her voice rising with stress, as if nothing else in her life matters but this wedding. "Jordan's planning this surprise for the reception, and I need to make sure it coordinates with the timeline. He's being so secretive about it. It's romantic, but also incredibly stressful because what if it conflicts with the cake cutting?" Jordan, the man who is supposed to be the love of her life, the man who's so perfect that I can already feel the weight of his presence in this house, even though he's not here yet. I nod as she continues, but I'm not really listening. I'm thinking of the way my father dotes on Amber, the way he overlooks everything I've done. I'm thinking of Jordan, her so-called perfect fiancé, and how I can already see through his smile. I'm thinking of all the things I've hidden for years, and I'm done hiding. Dinner is a blur of small talk and forced pleasantries. The dining room is filled with the clinking of silverware, the murmur of voices, and the faint hum of ambient music playing in the background. Everyone is too busy, too distracted, too caught up in Amber's wedding to notice me, as usual. But there's one person who does. The moment Jordan steps through the door, the room seems to pause. He's everything Amber has built him up to be: polished, charming, a little too perfect. His jawline is sharp, his dark hair styled in a way that screams high maintenance. He wears a sleek, expensive watch that he adjusts every few minutes, making sure everyone sees it. "Jordan!" Amber exclaims, rushing over to greet him. "You're finally here. This is Michaela, my sister." She gestures toward me with that same practiced smile, as if I'm just another guest at the wedding to be introduced in passing. Jordan's eyes land on me, and his smile widens just a bit too much, a flash of something cold behind it. "It's so nice to meet you, Michaela. Amber's told me so much about you." He reaches for my hand, gripping it just a little too firmly, and his smile doesn't quite reach his eyes. "Nice to meet you too," I reply, keeping my voice steady. His hand lingers for a moment, and I pull mine back, trying not to make a scene. Something about him feels off, too rehearsed, too perfect. I watch as he shifts his attention to my father, who's already leaning in to discuss something about property values. They're immediately in deep conversation about a new municipal development proposal, discussing things that, frankly, go over my head. I don't have the patience for it. I feel my anger rising, a familiar sensation, the same one I've felt every time I've been ignored, overlooked, and made to feel invisible. As Jordan and Dad talk shop, I grab my glass of wine and sip it slowly, watching the scene unfold around me. Mom is sitting quietly, nodding along to the conversation as if it's all perfectly normal. Amber, of course, is watching Jordan like he's the sun and the moon. I can't help but feel sick. Later, during dinner, I try to ask Jordan a few questions. Small talk, really. A test, more than anything. "So, which venture capital firms led your Series B?" I ask casually, hoping to catch him off guard. There's a slight pause in the conversation, and Jordan's eyes freeze for a moment. "Ah," he says smoothly, his smile never faltering. "We're keeping that confidential until the official announcement. NDA restrictions, you understand?" I nod, playing along, though my brain is already turning the gears. "NDA restrictions?" "But your company's based here in town, right?" I press, trying to make sense of the vague answers he's been giving. "We're distributed," he replies, his voice oozing confidence. "Remote-first culture. I've got team members in Austin, Denver, Portland. That's the future of work, right? Geography becomes irrelevant when you have the right technology." His words sound rehearsed, the kind of thing you'd say to impress someone who knows nothing about the industry. I press on, determined to push deeper. "So, what's your current user base looking like? Must be substantial if you're closing a Series B funding round." I lean forward slightly, trying to keep my tone conversational, but there's something in his eyes, a flicker of calculation, that makes me question everything. "We don't typically discuss specific metrics publicly," he responds smoothly, his tone shifting just enough to let me know I've touched a nerve. "Trade secret concerns. But trust me, Michaela, we're on the right track. This is all very exciting." I lean back in my chair, realizing that I'm not going to get the answers I'm looking for. But I'm not done yet. I need to know more. This man has an answer for everything, too smooth, too polished, and something about it doesn't sit right with me. Before I can continue, Dad shoots me a warning look across the table. "Michaela," he says, his voice dripping with the same dismissive tone I've heard my whole life. "Not everyone wants to be interrogated about business during dinner." I feel my face flush with anger, but I hold my ground. "I was just curious," I mutter, taking another sip of wine. Jordan, sensing the tension, quickly cuts in, his smile returning to full force. "It's fine," he says, his voice smooth as silk. "She's just being thorough. That's a good trait in your field, right, Michaela? Attention to detail." It's a perfect play, flattering me in front of everyone, making me seem small for questioning him. His charm is too much, too calculated. He's playing the role of the perfect fiancé, the perfect businessman. But I see the cracks. I see the lies he's spinning. And I'm not buying it. The night lingers in my mind long after I leave the dinner table, my thoughts running in circles. Every word that came out of Jordan's mouth feels rehearsed. Every answer, a little too perfect, too practiced. He's hiding something, and I won't stop until I figure out what it is. The next morning, I wake up early, unable to sleep. The sun barely peeks over the horizon as I sit on the edge of my bed, my laptop open in front of me. I've already started digging into Jordan's background, the research burning in my mind. His company, his supposed career, his credentials, they don't add up. The more I search, the more holes I find. I start with the basics. Jordan Taylor, the name that's supposedly attached to a promising tech startup, but the results are sparse. A few generic articles, no LinkedIn profile that matches the level of success he's claiming. No mentions in any credible tech outlets. No press coverage of the game-changing software his company supposedly developed. It's all too clean, too perfect. I start to dig deeper. I enter variations of his name, searching for connections. That's when I find something. An article from 18 months ago in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The headline catches my eye. Local woman loses $50,000 to investment scam. The photo accompanying the article shows a man who looks almost identical to Jordan. The name, however, is different. Justin Taylor. The article describes the woman, Sarah Henderson, who had been engaged to Justin Taylor before he disappeared days before their wedding, taking her money along with him. It doesn't take long for me to put the pieces together. Jordan isn't who he says he is. He's using a different name, a different identity, but the face, the smile, the story, it's all the same. I feel the blood drain from my face. I scroll through more results. The names change. Joseph Turner, Jackson Thomas, Jonathan Thomas. But the story remains identical. The scam is always the same. Engage with the family of an unsuspecting bride, promise them huge returns on investments, and then disappear days before the wedding, leaving a trail of devastated families and empty bank accounts. I sit back in my chair, staring at the screen. The pattern is undeniable. Jordan Taylor is just another name in a long line of cons, and my family is next. My heart pounds in my chest as I gather my thoughts. I've already started assembling evidence. Articles, police reports, public records, anything I can find that connects the dots. I print everything out at a 24-hour office supply store, the ink still fresh when I get back to my childhood home. It's time to confront them. I walk into the house, the evidence in my bag, my breath shallow as I make my way toward the dining room. The house is still quiet, too quiet, but I know I won't be able to wait much longer. The door to the study is open, and I hear my dad's voice, deep and impatient, on the phone. Amber is nowhere in sight. I take the folder of printed evidence and lay it on the dining room table, scattering the documents across the surface like a map of deceit. I open my phone and check the time. Just before 9 o'clock a.m. I don't have much time. Mom walks in first, her eyes wide with surprise when she sees the papers spread out. She stops dead in her tracks, her hand still clutching the dish towel she was holding. "What is all this?" she asks, her voice shaking. "Sit down," I say quietly, "please." She hesitates, but slowly she sinks into the nearest chair. The tension in the air is palpable, and it's only going to get worse. Dad enters the room next, his stern face hardening when he sees the documents on the table. Amber follows him in, still dressed in her yoga pants and bride sweatshirt, her phone pressed to her ear. "What's going on?" she asks, her voice already rising. I meet her gaze. "I need to show you all something." My voice is steady, but inside I'm shaking. I can already see their disbelief. They won't believe me. I begin with the article from Cedar Rapids. The headline, "The story of the woman who lost everything." The photo of Justin Taylor, his face, his smile, the same one Jordan has. "This is the man you're about to marry," I say, my voice cold, calculated. "And his name isn't Jordan Taylor, it's Justin Taylor, and this is what he's done before." Amber stares at the photo, her face falling as I continue to walk them through the evidence. The other names, the other women, the identical pattern. My dad's face goes pale, his eyes flickering with suspicion. "No," he says, shaking his head. "This is insane. This is all fabricated. These are just coincidences." I don't let him get away with it. "No, Dad. These are facts. Look at the timeline. Look at the names. Look at what he's done. He's a fraud. And he's been targeting families just like ours, just like yours." I pull out the financial documents, the ones I found in Dad's study, the ones I thought were just another set of papers he forgot to hide. You've invested $75,000, right? Your retirement savings, Aunt Carol's inheritance, all of it. It's gone. It's going to him. Dad's face hardens, and for a moment, I see the man who used to control everything, the man who thought he had all the answers. Now he's just a man caught in a lie. That's enough, he says, his voice booming. Get out of my house, Michaela. My heart pounds in my chest as my father's words hit me like a slap. Get out of my house, Michaela. His tone is sharp, final, and leaves no room for argument. But I stand my ground. I won't let them ignore this. Not this time. You don't understand, I say, my voice quiet but unwavering. This is real. Jordan is a fraud, and you're about to lose everything. Mom, her face pale and her eyes wide, slowly shakes her head. Michaela, this is too much. You don't know what you're talking about. You're trying to ruin Amber's wedding. Her voice cracks as she speaks, a mixture of confusion and fear. This isn't the time for this. We're already under enough pressure. I can feel my anger rising, hot and raw, but I push it down. I can't let their denial cloud what's at stake. I'm trying to protect you, I say, my voice a little louder now. You're about to be swindled. You're trusting someone who's already hurt so many people. I have proof. But Amber, standing beside Mom, crosses her arms and glares at me. Her face is flushed, her eyes burning with something I can't quite place. You're just jealous, she spits, her words sharp and biting. You always have been. You've never been able to accept that I'm the one who matters to everyone, and now you're just trying to ruin my happiness. Her words hit me like a punch in the stomach. All these years I've tried to make them see me. I've worked so hard to earn their respect, and yet every time I've tried, Amber has been the one who received the spotlight. Jealous, I say, my voice thick with emotion. Jealous of what? Your perfect life? Your perfect wedding? Your perfect fiancé who's lying to all of you? No, Amber replies, her voice trembling with anger. You're just bitter because you think you're better than me. You always have. It's why you stayed away for so long, because you couldn't stand seeing me happy. The words sting, but I don't let them break me. I can't. You've never seen me, Amber, I say quietly. Not really. All I've ever done is help. Help you. Help Mom and Dad. Help keep the peace. But this is where I draw the line. She turns away from me, her eyes filling with tears, her shoulders shaking slightly. I don't want to hear it. I just want this day to be perfect. I turn to look at Dad, my chest tight with frustration. He's standing there, arms crossed, staring at me with a mix of anger and disbelief. You're making a mistake, I tell him. I'm not the enemy here. I'm the one trying to stop this disaster before it's too late. You're causing a disaster, Michaela, Dad replies, his voice low and controlled, but there's a sharpness in his tone. You've always been the difficult one, the one who didn't fit in with the family, and now you're doing this to ruin Amber's happiness? I can't believe you. Tears sting my eyes, but I refuse to let them fall. I've been fighting for their respect, their attention, my entire life. And every time I'm pushed aside, ignored, dismissed. But not this time. I'm trying to save you, I say, my voice breaking just a little. But you don't see it. You can't see it. Suddenly, Jordan's voice cuts through the tension. He enters the room, his expression calm, almost too calm. He looks at the scene before him, the evidence of my betrayal spread out on the table. And for the first time, I see the mask slip, just a fraction. Is everything okay in here? His voice is smooth, like he's walking into a room full of strangers, not a family that's about to fall apart. I was just checking on Amber, making sure she's okay. Amber wipes her eyes, forcing a smile. I'm fine, Jordan. Just family stuff. You know how it is. But Jordan's eyes flicker to me, and I see that brief flash of calculation. He's sizing me up, just like I thought. His charm is wearing thin. The mask is starting to crack. Why don't we all just take a breath, Jordan says, his voice almost soothing, as if he's playing the role of the peacemaker. Michaela, I understand that you're worried, but this isn't the place for these kinds of accusations. I glare at him, my hands trembling. This is exactly the place. You're not who you say you are, and I've got the proof to show it. I reach for the folder of evidence, but Dad steps in front of me. Enough, he snaps, his voice rising. I don't want to hear it anymore. Get out of this house, Michaela. You're making everything worse. I feel my heart shatter into a million pieces, but I won't back down. You're making a mistake, I say, my voice steady, despite the storm raging inside me. You're making a huge mistake. Jordan looks at me with a mixture of pity and amusement, his smile never faltering. Michaela, if you need proof, I'll get you whatever you want, but this is just a misunderstanding. I step back, my hands clenched into fists. I've seen this before, I say, my voice steady. You've been doing this for years, moving from family to family, scamming them, taking everything they have, and now you've found your next target. Jordan's eyes narrow ever so slightly, but he doesn't break character. I think you need to calm down, Michaela. Let's talk about this another time, okay? But I know it's too late. The damage is done. I take a step back, my pulse pounding in my ears. It's as if everything I've been working toward, everything I've been fighting for, is slipping away right before my eyes. I can feel the weight of my family's disbelief pressing down on me, suffocating me. They won't listen. They won't see the truth. But I have no choice. I can't let them walk into this disaster blind. I won't let Jordan get away with it. I pull the folder of evidence toward me once more, the pages rustling as I scatter them across the dining room table. Every document, every screenshot, every police report. This is everything. The proof is irrefutable, and I'm not backing down. I flip through the pages, showing them the articles, the images, the records of Jordan's previous scams. This is him. Same face, same story, different name every time. He's been doing this for years. I slide a photo of Jordan, Justin, or whatever his real name is, across the table, the face now glaring back at my family with the weight of his lies. The silence is deafening. I turn to Amber, my sister, who's sitting across from me, her face flushed with emotion. Her eyes are wide and her lip quivers as she takes in the evidence, the truth starting to sink in. Amber, I say softly, my voice trembling with a mix of frustration and sorrow. He's been lying to you, all of us. He's after your money, after everything. She doesn't speak. Her hands are shaking as she reaches for the photo, examining it closely. Her eyes flicker to the timeline I've created. Every instance, every name, every family that's been destroyed by his scam. No, she whispers, her voice barely audible. No, this can't be real. I stand up, my legs weak beneath me. It is. It's all real. Look at the pattern. He's been doing this over and over, and you're the next victim. If we don't act now, you'll lose everything. I look at my dad. His face is pale, and for the first time, I see a flicker of something resembling fear in his eyes. Dad, please, I beg, my voice breaking. You have to see it. He's not who he says he is. He's a fraud. For a moment, it feels like the room is holding its breath. My father looks at the evidence, then at Jordan, whose mask is starting to slip. His calm demeanor is no longer convincing. There's a hint of nervousness in his eyes now, something that wasn't there before, but he won't break, not yet. You can't believe this, Jordan says, his voice smooth but strained. This is all a misunderstanding, a mistake. Michaela's just trying to create problems. I can feel the heat rising in my chest, my anger surging like a wave. No, Jordan, this is the truth. You've been scamming families for years, using the same tactics, the same lies, and now you're trying to take everything from us. Amber looks at me, her face crumpling. I don't know what to believe, she whispers. I just wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted to believe in him. I wanted to believe in us. I step forward, my heart aching for her. Amber, I know this is hard, but you have to trust me. I'm doing this because I love you. I'm trying to protect you from losing everything. For a moment, there's only silence. Amber's gaze drops to the floor, her tears silently falling. And then it happens. Jordan's expression shifts, just slightly, but it's enough to confirm everything I've suspected. The mask he's been wearing cracks, just for a second. He's no longer the charming, polished man he's been pretending to be. You think you know everything, don't you? Jordan's voice is low, a hint of menace creeping into it. You think you've got it all figured out, but you don't. I take a step back, the weight of his words sinking in. There's something dangerous about the way he's looking at me now. His smile fades, replaced by something colder. You have no idea what you're dealing with, Michaela. I stare at him, my heart hammering in my chest. I know exactly what I'm dealing with, and I'm not going to let you destroy my family. Jordan shifts his weight, his eyes darting to the door, calculating his next move. You're making a huge mistake, he says, his voice now tinged with frustration. You'll regret this. The tension in the room is unbearable. I can see my father's face harden as he realizes just how deep this goes, how far Jordan has taken his lies. And then the final blow lands. Amber, still sitting at the table, stares at Jordan with disbelief in her eyes. You're you're not who you say you are. Her voice cracks, the realization hitting her like a wave. Jordan's jaw tightens, but he doesn't answer. Instead, he stands up abruptly, pushing his chair back with a sharp scrape across the floor. I'm done here, he says, his tone final. You'll regret this. All of you. And with that, he walks out of the room, leaving behind a trail of silence and broken trust. The door slams shut behind Jordan, and for a moment, everything is still. The weight of the room presses in on me, the silence deafening. I feel the cold air where he once stood, but the tension is unbearable. My family is still here, but something's changed. The illusion is gone. Amber doesn't say anything at first. She just sits there, her face pale, tears still streaming down her cheeks. Her hands tremble as she wipes her eyes, but her movements are mechanical, like she's trying to hold on to the pieces of a dream that are slipping through her fingers. I stand there, watching her, unsure of what to do. I want to reach out, to comfort her, but I know that the damage has already been done. I've just shattered her world. She trusted him, she believed in the lies, in the fairy tale, and I ripped it all away from her. Finally, Amber looks up at me, her eyes wide with a mix of disbelief and betrayal. I don't know what to say, she whispers, her voice hoarse. I thought he was the one. I know you did, I reply, my own voice breaking. And I'm so sorry, Amber, but I had to show you. I had to make you see the truth. You deserve better than him. You deserve someone who loves you for who you are, not someone who's just using you for your money. She shakes her head, her breath hitching. I should have known. I should have seen the signs. But I was too blinded by him, by everything he said. I move closer, my heart aching as I kneel beside her. It's not your fault. He's good at what he does. He's made a career out of this. But you didn't know. None of us did. I should have listened to you, she murmurs, her hands clenching into fists. You were right. You've always been right. I feel a pang of sadness, knowing that it took all of this, everything falling apart, for her to finally see me. To see the sister who was always there, trying to protect her, trying to be seen. But it's too late for that now. The damage is done. Mom enters the room quietly, her eyes filled with something I can't quite place. She looks at Amber first, her gaze softening. I'm sorry, honey, she says, her voice breaking. I didn't know. I didn't see it. Amber nods, but her eyes never leave the floor. Mom approaches and gently takes Amber's hand, her fingers trembling. We've all been blinded by him. I've been so focused on making everything perfect that I couldn't see what was happening right in front of me. Dad walks into the room just then, his face tight with anger and frustration. But when he sees Amber's tear-streaked face and the evidence spread out on the table, something shifts in his eyes. Michaela, he says, his voice rough. I'm sorry. I should have trusted you. I should have believed you. I don't know how to respond. All these years, I've been trying to prove myself to him, to them. But it's too late now. The damage is already done. Dad, it's not about me, I reply quietly. It's about all of us. We've let ourselves be manipulated by someone we thought we could trust. But the truth is, Jordan never cared about any of us. He only cared about what he could take. Mom and Dad exchange a look, their faces clouded with guilt and regret. It's the first time in a long time that they've looked at me like they see me, really see me. But it doesn't make the pain any less. Amber finally stands up, her eyes red and swollen, her expression a mixture of anger, disbelief, and shame. I need to be alone, she says softly, her voice breaking. I can't deal with this right now. Before anyone can stop her, she walks out of the room, her footsteps heavy on the hardwood floor. Mom and Dad stand there, both looking at me, unsure of what to say next. For once, there's no excuse, no justification. They've seen the truth. The veil has been lifted. I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. I did what I had to do, I say, my voice steady, despite the tears threatening to spill. I couldn't let this happen. I couldn't let him take everything. Mom walks over to me, her eyes filled with unshed tears. Michaela, I don't know what to say. You were right, and I didn't listen. I shrug, feeling the weight of everything settle in my chest. It doesn't matter now. What matters is that we stop him. We stop him before he does any more damage. Dad finally speaks, his voice low and gravelly. What do we do now? I look at the folder of evidence on the table, the pieces of Jordan's web of lies laid out in front of us. We go to the police. We make sure he doesn't get away with this. We protect our family. The hours that follow are a blur of phone calls and paperwork. We call the police, report the fraud, and provide them with all the evidence I've gathered. It feels surreal, like I'm watching someone else's life unfold. The family that once seemed so untouchable, so perfect, is now shattered by the lies of a man we all trusted. Amber is still avoiding me, still processing the truth in her own way. I know this isn't something she can just brush off, but part of me aches to know that I've lost her, even if it's temporary. I've done what I had to do to save her, to save all of us, but it doesn't feel like a victory. It just feels like the end of something. The police take all the evidence and begin to track Jordan's movements, his fake identities, and the trail of stolen money. We all sit around the table in silence, waiting and waiting. There's nothing left to say, nothing left to do. I can feel the weight of my family's regret pressing down on me, but I'm not sure I can forgive them. Not yet. Not for all the years they ignored me, pushed me aside, not for all the times they chose Amber over me. I go outside for some air, needing a moment to myself. The air is crisp, the sky overcast and heavy, much like the emotions I'm carrying. As I step onto the front porch, I hear the sound of tires crunching on gravel. My first instinct is to turn and go back inside, but I don't. I stand there, waiting. It's Amber. She steps out of her car, her eyes red, her movements slow and heavy. She doesn't say anything at first, just stands there looking at me, like she's unsure of how to begin. Finally, she takes a step forward. "I'm sorry," she says quietly, her voice thick with emotion. "I should have listened. I should have believed you." I don't know what to say. The ache in my chest is too raw, too new. "It's not your fault, Amber," I say, my voice steady, though it feels like I'm holding back a flood of emotions. "He's good at what he does, but you're not stupid. You just wanted to believe in him, and I get it." She nods, a sob escaping her lips before she can stop it. "I didn't want to see the truth. I didn't want to believe that he was lying. But everything you showed me, Michaela, it all makes sense now. I should have trusted you. I should have trusted myself." I step forward, my arms opening instinctively, and she falls into me, her sobs shaking through her. For a moment, all the pain, all of the years of feeling invisible and overlooked melt away. This is the Amber I've always known, the vulnerable, the broken, the sister who just wanted to be loved. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like maybe I can love her too. "I'm so sorry," she whispers again. "I should have been there for you. I should have seen what you were doing. You've always been there for me, and I've taken you for granted." I pull back slightly, holding her at arm's length, but my hands still rest on her shoulders. "Amber, I don't need you to apologize. I need you to understand that I did this because I care about you. You're my sister, and I love you no matter what." She nods, wiping her eyes, a shaky smile breaking through. "I love you too. And I'm going to make this right. I'll fix this. Somehow." I believe her, though the road ahead won't be easy. The betrayal runs deep, but it's not the end. It can't be. Later that evening, we sit together, Mom, Dad, Amber, and me, in the living room. The air is still heavy with everything that's happened, but it's different now. There's a sense of quiet resolve among us. We're all here, we're all safe, and we're going to rebuild together. Jordan will be found. The police are on his trail, and we have the evidence to prove who he really is. He won't escape, and when he's gone, when the dust settles, we'll be left to pick up the pieces. But this time it will be different. I won't be the invisible daughter anymore. I stand up and walk over to the window, looking out over the quiet neighborhood. It's been a long time since I felt like I could breathe without the weight of my family's expectations on my shoulders. But now, as I look at the sky, the clouds parting just enough to let a sliver of light through, I finally feel free. "From now on," I say, my voice steady, "we do things my way. We do things our way." Mom and Dad exchange a look, and for the first time I see something in their eyes that wasn't there before, a kind of acceptance, maybe even a little bit of respect. "I think that's the only way forward," Dad says, his voice soft but firm. Amber stands beside me, her arm brushing against mine. "I'm with you," she says, her voice full of determination. "We've been through too much to go back to the way things were." I nod, a small smile tugging at my lips. We have a long road ahead of us, but for the first time, I feel like we can walk it together. As the night falls, I look around at my family. Broken, yes, but not beyond repair. And in that moment, I realize that the hardest battles don't always have to end in defeat. Sometimes the fight is what leads you to your true self. And finally, I'm ready to step into the world as Michaela Grace Whitmore, the woman I was always meant to be.